Is showtime for game number 2 here over at Meta for the New South Wales, HSE and Queensland Division 1 game of the day. It is going to be Canberra College facing up against Salle College. Both of these teams have one win under their belt, so it's time to see can they climb the ranks. I am, of course, still Midnight, but I am joined by a new color caster today. It is going to be Mendrix. My guy, how are you going?
Going well, mate. Everything seems to be on top of the world. I have a little bit of advice out there for all the college students. Look, follow your dreams, not my life choices. That's basically everything I put out there.
All right, good start. There you go. Some advice coming in to our game right here. As it is going to be the start of the banning phase. And so far, nothing too out of the ordinary has been caught yet. The Evelyn, a little bit of a niche pick, but if you're not ready for the assassin, she will just pop up behind you and slaughter you. So I'm very happy to see her being removed from this game.
Yeah, and she's very effective against most players who aren't really that good against her. And what I mean that is just inexperience. You kind of need to be watching the player, not really thinking about where she's going to be going, because normally your laner gives away if an Evelyn's nearby. If they just start running at you, at that point you realize, I'm probably going to die soon, I need to run away.
So that will be through as the banning phase, nice and slow coming through so far. As a final ban coming through for Salle College is looking to be, I tried to stall for time, I failed catastrophically, but it is going to be a Varus coming through here, and maybe this is me, Mendrix, but Varus ban tells me that they kind of want to lock in the Jinx.
That is true. I mean, look, the part of the thing here is that with that utility ADC, the ability to lock a number of people down is pretty damn good. Also, could be just another thing to take into account. A lot of it's just comfortability. As some of these players typically can only play certain champions, a few one-trick ponies, tends to be prevalent in the lower ratings of League of Legends, and that means I'm probably just doing some target bans at this point in time. So it's not too much to give away. I mean, look what happened last game. We had a ridiculous lineup in terms of what happened here with, in terms of the final year composition. So I'm not really going to be putting too much on the pick and ban analysis, but really the decisions these players use in game.
Yeah, well, the decisions they make, of course, should be influenced a little bit by their champions. As we see Twitch and Lee Sin picked up here for the side of Salle College. And the Twitch I find quite interesting. Is it going to be support? Is it going to be AP? There's a lot of different options available to them. So we'll see how that goes. Ooh! Diana locked in here for the side of Canberra College. And forgive me if I'm wrong, Magix, but isn't Diana jungle starting to become a thing?
I think it already is a thing. It's actually a pretty high pick priority just across the board, especially in some international regions. So Diana Jungle really hasn't picked up. She's got decent clear as a number of the other champions who were just really prevalent beforehand when looking at Udyr, looking at Hecarim. These guys that were basically running amok in the jungle have been shaved down in power. Players have been looking for different opportunities, different things they could look at. And in particular, I'm looking at Diana here. She actually fits well. She's pretty good in clear, and especially with the changes coming into Season 11 with jungle items, she's actually picked up. So considering that now she's beginning to make her way into the jungle, not just as a niche pick, but more as a standard pick, is a good sign.
And they get to pair it up with one of my favorite mid laners here, the Anivia. You don't get to see the Articuno that often, but when you do, it's usually very entertaining to watch. And up against a Yone in the middle lane, Okay, I know I just said about how much I love Anivia, but I'm kind of concerned that the Ice Bird isn't going to be able to stop, the world's edgiest samurai.
Look, it's pretty hard, I must admit. It's the world's edgiest samurai has a number of ways to become a soul and move around the actual wall that she puts in place. That's what's pretty good against the Yone going against Nivea. The other thing to take into account here, and I've seen a number of Niveas literally just stall the hell out of games. So Nivea isn't just good in the late game in the sense of the amount of damage that's put out. She's really good late game insurance and actually just stopping you from ending the game. Sieges become nearly impossible for them to really make something happen. And looking at most of the players here that's available, yeah, Twitch is pretty good in short spurts to make fights happen. His siege potential is just not the best. So unless they've got something that can really begin to chip away at this Nivea, they might actually have problems cracking the egg when it comes to that late game.
Yeah, and to do that, they need a little bit of range, because Yone, melee champion, Lee Sin, melee champion, Twitch is basically a ranged assassin, if you will. So getting something like maybe a Malphite for an engage, or maybe even an Ornn, some way to start a fight from a little bit of distance, could be beneficial to the team composition. But let's find out, Mendrix, as we will be hitting the start of the second round of picks here. And now the question becomes, well, what do they feel like for their support, assuming the Twitch is the AD carry? Like, I was going to say Lulu Twitch is annoying, but, you know, Lulu just got hit by a ban.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to say. Twitch is pretty good, actually, with a number of kill lanes as well. So you've got some options available to you in terms of what could actually be put down there. Typically, Enchanter supports are decent. I think the cat, you put the cat and the rat together is probably the best way to go about it, specifically because look, you know, I'm just going to say it right now. He's a rat, okay? Let's just put it out there. Let's be objectively honest with what Twitch actually is, and he is a sewer rat, okay? So you get the cat, you get the rat. The fact that the Yuumi also goes invisible is pretty damn strong, so she can appear out of nowhere. It's amazing, not only in lane, but also it also has a factor going forward into those late game team fights. And when you've got a Mordekaiser as well to really take someone else out of the fight, having a 4-on-1 when two of them are invisible and you're wondering what the hell's going on is pretty damn powerful.
Yeah. See how that Mordekaiser plays itself as the full team composition of Canberra College is visible to us, with the Leona paired up with the Jhin in the bottom lane. And of course, Malphite will be secured in the top half of the map. I do worry a little bit because Mordekaiser should have a relatively easy time in that matchup, but I'm going to drag his bot lane once again, Mendrix, as it is indeed the cat and the rat.
Look, you know, I'm starting up here. We could even do a little bit of a rhyme as well. You know, the cat and the rat with something on a hat. I don't know. Look, a number of things could really happen here, and it is a fantastic bot lane to really have. Yuumi scales extremely well into that game. She's going to be very powerful. One of the big things that is a concern is the heavy engage available on their opponent's side. It's actually pretty damn ridiculous what they're going to be capable of putting out. So I'm a bit worried per se in terms of, you know, that Twitch staying alive, because you might be like, ha, surprise, and next thing you know, it's going to be high school pylons all over again. Well, for me, it's going to be all over again. It's probably more common for these guys.
Coming in here, you talked about the part that kind of I get a little bit worried about, though, Mendrix, is Canberra College. You talk about the excessive, I use the word excessive quantity of engage. Malphite, technically Diana is the engage. Jhin can be a little bit of a pick, and of course Leona is like the queen of crowd control when it comes to just the ability to start fights. So even if Canberra College fall a little bit behind the mid game, they've got recovery avenues. De La Salle, on the other hand, I worry that their ability to start a fight if they're behind is, well, severely limited. They haven't got a lot of easy to land hard crowd control. Hell, I don't think they have any point and click actual crowd control beyond like Lee Sin, and I'm not counting his ultimate as traditional crowd control.
Oh, Dextrox is going to be putting on his best insect impersonation if he's got a way to make it happen. That's literally what it's going to be. The other thing that comes into it as well is you could just have Mordekaiser just running at someone and be like, that person goes to the Shadow Realm, and in the mid sort of confusion of that actually happening, the Lee Sin just flies in on whoever, like he hits his Sonic, he basically hits his Q1 at that point. So there's a lot of different options available for them to make it happen. It's just the execution is not the easiest. That's the big thing that comes down to it. Yeah. The other thing to take into account, Mordekaiser is going to have a field day against a Malphite. Malphite typically is great at slowing people's damage down. Mordekaiser doesn't really care, to be perfectly honest, if his auto attacks isn't hitting. It's mainly more because he's just killing you with metal, surrounding you at multiple points in time. And let's not forget, he does go AP. Malphite likes to build armor. Doesn't really mesh out well for the Malphite in that scenario. So I can definitely expect Mordekaiser to have a bit of an advantage there. That sort of takes away one of the initiation tools available for Canberra, and that should allow them to have a bit of an edge, at least in some point. That being said, it could be recognized, and that means they might try to send the Diana up there a little bit top early and really just put this Mordekaiser into a bit of a hole before he can start playing around and being the high school bully.
Yeah, well, that is, you talked about earlier as well, as much as we can look at the champions they've locked in, it comes down to how they want to play the game. And where I think, for me at least, Riley and Dextrox is going to be the focus, at least for me. Because Diana's ability to just do whatever she really feels like is, I think, ridiculous. Like, she can gank, she can hard farm, she can do whatever she feels like. And we all know what a good Lee Sin can do.
She can't get out. That's
okay, she can't disengage, but half the time when you're close range against a Diana's happy to have you there, because that means she can hit you in the face with her curved sword. So, you know.
Yeah, but like, if she misses, she dies. Alright, so that's the thing. Like, a lot of it comes into the fact that it's like, I land my spells and everything's K. But if you don't land the spells, then you know, it feels like you've just popped into class after a week being sick, and your teacher's like, pop quiz, and then you're like, and you just explode, right? So that's the scenario.
I feel like you and I had very different high school experiences, to be honest.
You never just like spontaneously combusted while in the middle of class. That's never happened for you.
No, see, because I'm a ginger, my hair just goes on fire. But I've never spontaneously.
So you've got an exhaust pipe. It's like,
exactly.
Out the steam. Yeah. Gotcha. That makes sense.
But guys, we will be diving into our second game of the night here at Meta HSE. Guys, do not go anywhere. When we come back, Canberra College and De La Salle will be facing off head to head. We have hit Summer's Rift, everybody, for game number 2. Canberra College in the blue, facing off against De La Salle in the red. And for what should hopefully be an explosive early game, Mendrix, it's line of scrimmage.
I love a good line of scrimmage. You wanna know why I love line of scrimmage, Midnight?
Why do you
it gives me a chance to talk about the team composition is that
little
bit more. Yeah, you know. It's not, you know, it's just like, it's a bit crazy when everyone's like, hey, we're going for red. And it's like, well, the reason for the red invade is that no, let's deep dive into this composition that comes down to it. And everything that really needs to be there is we're looking at Dextrox being the bridge for the rest of the team here, specifically that bottom side of the map. They want to keep Moko up in that island, basically bullying around a rock, just kicking it left, right, and side. I mean, have you ever thrown a rock at a wall at some point in time? That's probably what Moko's going to be doing for the majority of the game. That being said, of course, Diana does like to come around and probably put Moko in his place at some point. But I'm expecting Dextrox to really bridge the late game Twitch and, of course, the Yuumi. They're really going to be struggling actually in this early point in the game because, as you can see, Jin loves to start that bullying very early, and of course Leona can jump on her at any moment in time. So a lot of it really is going to be on Dextrox babysitting that bot lane and leaving the top side of the map to their own devices, and Riley needs to be matching that Lee Sin while making sure that farm's in place to allow them to have a really explosive 15-minute game fight.
Yeah, and I think this bottom lane specifically, if Prodigy cannot stay safe. I mean, the big thing is level 2, right? Like, if you hit level 2 on Leona, you get the engage, even with cleanse, heal, and exhaust available for the bottom side of De La Salle. I worry it may not be enough. So they just need to be careful because they are pushing up a little bit. They might actually be able to hit level 2 first with their posturing. They will. And does that give them more safety considering they hit 2 first? Or is it still a kill threat? Oh, no. This is aggressive bullying is what's happening right now to poor little John.
I mean, is it aggressive bullying when you've got a giant mace?
Yes.
Are you
he's
sure?
Being bullied by the mace, man.
Nah. I think you just want to use the mace, and he's a rock, so you need to keep hitting the rock. Look, obviously, this is what Moko needs to be doing, right? The big thing here is, like, yeah, Moko's great when it comes to those team fights to actually just sort of take someone away, but the late game team fight ability of not Jon Snow on the Malphite is just monstrous. So he needs to really keep this guy down so that way his Twitch isn't being one-shot. Because even though, yeah, they've got cleanse, they've got exhaust, they've got the heal, yeah, that's all nice summoners to have. When you got a giant rock flying at your face, that's going to knock you up in the air and probably kill you while you're still knocked up in the air. That's the big thing you need to be concerned about. And keeping that margin down as much as possible is what Moko needs to be doing. And not just is doing an all right job of just sitting back, relaxing. As long as he can weather the storm and at least not be, a collapsing front face of rock in terms of, imagine like a seed just smashing against a rock multiple times. As long as he's able to weather that and not fall apart, he should be all good.
Good. There in the bottom lane is mid lane. I must admit, I'm getting a lot of pleasure watching Anivia being played and Anivia doing well into what could be a rough match. But oh no! Deathstroke's coming in for that first blood. He will be able to pop the egg, but I think it may be enough. No, it buys the time because guess who's mid lane? It's Riley. He will arrive merely to zone off Deathstrokes, but a good gank from this Lee Sin to get things started.
Yeah, the big thing is, of course, that egg is the biggest nope moment you can imagine in the game of League of Legends for it. That being said, Prodigy's jumping on Jin.
Yeah, it might be an ambush because guess who's behind him? Exhaust is down. Early cleanse, diving forward. They need to get this kill into Bacon, make it work. Heal comes out. A couple of hits, but they don't have the damage. Heal comes out. The flash, fourth shot to get first blood coming through here. And now Lemaine can't get out. There's nothing this Yuumi can do. All this cat can do is give up one of its 9 lives, going back to base for a double kill to Bacon. As Riley finds Zetrox in his jungle, he will be able to safeguard to safety. But that bottom lane, you talked about it. You talked how this Lee Sin. You talked about how the Twitch and the Yuumi aren't able to go blow for blow against the Jin just yet.
That's right. They need to wait until they're at least, first 2 items power spike coming into it. That's when they begin to scale and have that real big punch that everyone hates to see in those late games when they're the opponents. On the flip side of those things, like Jin's like, are you really doing this? Look, I know I'm Bacon, but no, I'm not that tasty, and clearly you can see that Leona agreed in that scenario when they just jumped in with the fact that they have the Ignite, the extra CC, the improved damage. It's just better scaling, or not really better scaling, it's just better damage in that early portions of the game in terms of how the kits work, and really just didn't have enough oomph to get Jin down before it was their turn to come back with that counter attack.
Exactly, and part of that could also be the fact that the bottom lane of De La Salle are running double defensive summoners. Exhaust, heal, and cleanse. Like, there's no ignite,
Absolutely.
There's no additional damage output there. So you attempt the all-in before, as you said, you have the items to. Well, it kind of backfires. So we'll see if Prodigy does decide to start maybe playing a little bit safer for now, as a 2-kill Jin might prove a little bit of a problem in the coming future because he's already got that Noon Quiver.
Yeah, and that's really a massive burst in this point in the game. Now things need to be really careful for both Prodigy and Lemonade. Well, Lemonade, who cares? I'll get the name right at some point. This is my first night, guys. This is my first night. Look. So basically they need to be sitting back and just waiting for that scaling point. Right now, as long as they don't give away at least another 2 kills by 20 minutes, they're going to be in a pretty decent spot. But considering this wave is beginning to push in, and as you can see here from the Canberra side, they're actually intelligently letting it pull in, so that way it's going to be easier for them to get the catch. So we have to see what happens here. He's just waiting. He's just sitting there.
I think Cam might have disconnected.
He's either trolling or he's disconnected. No,
I feel like he's disconnected.
Yeah, he's disconnected. Yeah.
Nah, no pauses come through. They'll pick up the kill there. That is a little bit unfortunate, because that could give Prodigy. That's Prodigy's way back in to this bottom lane.
Absolutely, especially because they are going to be the ones that can take it to the late for stages. Every little gold injection that can be donated, they'll be happy to take. Part of me was just hoping that they think, oh, he's DC'd, get him. Next thing you know, the sword just flies out and goes in, but Talon's in trouble.
Oh my lord, an all-in and demolition. Talon gets bonked on the head, and I gotta give credit to Loco, to the Coco. That was a lovely bait coming in, luring the Anivia in for so long, and then Lee Sin rocks up and says, hello, you've made a bit of a miscalculation.
Yeah, a lot of the game senses at these low levels of, I don't want to call it low levels of play, but specifically speaking, you know, and guys who are developing and trying to figure out what's happening, is that game sense of knowing, hey, is this actually an opportunity for me to get the kill, or are they playing at the moment?
Oh my lord,
it takes a while to... Oop, he's gone. I don't think he realized what he was doing. Oh.
Look at this Lee Sin! He's a madman, he has ultimate, but he's not going to use it until it's far too late. Deathstroke's, I think he was trying to be cheeky, and it backfired catastrophically.
Yeah, that's definitely unfortunate from him there. I think, again, that idea of game sense just not fully developed in terms of what you can and can't do. Typically, when you see the opponent ready and waiting to actually go for a fight, that you don't want to go for that one-for-one trade unless you know it's guaranteed to get something there, and I think he wasn't really measuring out what he needed to do there effectively. I think the only thing he did was effectively deny a bit of CS away from not Jon Snow, but he still gets the assistance gold. He still gets something back for it, a bit of extra experience. So not really a net win at all for them there.
Yeah, the only saving grace I feel like for Salle is the fact that the Malphite is significantly down in terms of gold accumulation. He is well, 700 isn't exactly the place you want to be against a Mordekaiser. But Malphite is still Malphite, as the Death Realm is dropped on him super early. Not Jon Snow has to kite this out. He does have Riley as backup, so all he has to do is objective update and survive, and he does with Riley coming in the back end there, and the follow through with the Unstoppable Force. Objective updated, pushed away.
Yeah, you can see Mokul at that point in time, or Mokul, I think the chat was trying to tell me, okay? Mokul was trying to actually take advantage of the power spike. As you can see, he's starting to complete those items into play. I think he really didn't take into account just how tanky the Malphite still is, with not realizing that he was going to be able to survive it the entire time. Didn't respect the fact that Riley would be coming in and died directly afterwards. Typically, you want to save it. I think he's dead here as well.
Goodbye, John. There's no escape here, unfortunately. Nah. The mobility of the Lee Sin.
Too greedy.
Yeah.
He was trying to push it out. You know what? Riley should have hanged around to push that to the tower. So that was a bit of a mistake on a number of people there on that side. They should have came in and said, you know what? Let's push this up so I can get a free back here. Jon Snow was trying to obviously get it to tower to be able to get that free back. Unfortunately, pays the
god, what? Loco, you're crazy! Loco, you're crazy! Oh no! I feel like that's a case of pressing all your buttons and then realizing halfway through pressing all of your buttons, what am I doing? Like, what do my buttons do? Every time you play Yone...
I don't know how Yone works. He's got an edge, but is he edgy? I don't know in this scenario. I think the big thing from Loco is he thought with the Ignite, he had enough pressure to force a fight when it came into it. Utility mages, doing what utility mages do, does is really just whittle you down and find that opportunity to get the kill. And Loco just didn't take that into account when he decided to push that trigger and go for the fight afterwards.
It is unfortunate. I think everyone has done that when they've played Yone, though. Like, I remember the first time I played Yone, I went 0 and I went 2-17. It was a rough game. So, the fact that he is going relatively even is fantastic. And when we get to these later game fights, the Yone should be able to get pretty good access to the backline here, because you'd assume, oh my god, never mind, come on bot lane, as Riley has arrived there. He does get the pull in with the ultimate, and now the curtain call. Is it time for the performance to end? It looks like it does. That's curtain call for 1 and curtain call for 2.
And what I really love there by Canberra College is they actually decided to let the Jin get both of those kills. You can see there was a bit of patience to go, we've got them dead to rights. Make sure we give it to our ADC so that way he can be that much stronger in the mid-game team fights when we want to close this game out.
Yeah, a fantastic lead for the Jin. I mean, that's kind of what you need for a Jin. You're meant to be aggressive early as, my lord, Loco getting just whacked around in this middle lane. The fleet footwork, though, is at least a saving grace. He is going even as Deathstroke's... the Lee Sin's hungry for Dragon number 2, but I'm not so sure he can play that aggressive just yet.
Nah, definitely can't. He's got no warding around there. He's basically going in blind. I guess it's nice to keep an eye out on the owner, but you really could be doing better things with your time. You could be up on that top side, clearing it out in preparation for it. You could just drop a few wards around the area to make sure they can't actually go for it. But they are dropping the Rift in this scenario, and that might be enough to actually open up the tempo to go for this Dragon.
It should, because the side of Canberra College is now going to be forced to deal with the push in mid, which means they need to sack the Dragon. O'Reilly was not feeling it there, forced to flash to safety. Dragon, though, has basically been abandoned unless you got to go for a miracle steal. It's a ballsy play, but I'm not so sure it's the right one here. They will give up Dragon number 2. I think the right decision, honestly, there, as an Infernal Dragon will be the soul of the game.
Yeah, and you can see at the moment in time that even though, yeah, they're down on kills, yeah, you know, they're not really up on the in terms of tempo in most cases of the scenario, they are managing to actually get dragons. They are actually managing to get themselves on the map, which is keeping them in there. And when it's about,
no, that's a very lost chapter there. Unfortunate.
I think that's what the Yumi's doing its entire time, just a bit of a yep.
I thought it would be I don't know how to make cat noises, I'll be honest.
Just go meow. Okay, you know what? Like, story time. One of my old cats from back in the day used to have this really cute purr, which is like. So that's the sound I feel like, you know, Yumi's making every single time he's trying to make the. He's like. You know, like it's like a little mini machine gun noise, except the cat's making it.
Yeah, it sounds like the alarm I have when I wake up in the morning. As not Jon Snow's in a little trouble again. He has been death thrown, and Deathstroke is waiting for him to come out there. He should kick him immediately, but not able to get it in time, as Loco to the Loco is in trouble there. Riley feeling confident, but he does have backup. Do you commit? You land the Sonic Wave, but Deathstroke not feeling confident enough to go for the resonating strike.
Yeah, the Lee Syndrome there definitely not going into place there, especially when you do have the bird clearly rotating up.
Prodigy, no! Prodigy, no! He got out. The tiniest. Of course, the rat finds the tiniest little crevice to run out of.
Yeah, well, if you've done your biology, right, and seen as we are talking about schools and classes, they've actually got the ability to break their backs and make their way through pipes and other things. So yeah, exactly. I'm so surprised. Prodigy definitely showing us what he can do to get out of there.
Isn't that basically what cats do? Don't cats also become liquid at one point because they just want to go under door frames?
I mean, they've got the ability to do that, but like rats do it just on another level. That being said, this is also a magical cat that can attach itself to people. So I think this cat can do anything it really wants to do.
Except, you know, hold its own in a fight. Let's be honest.
He holds other people up in the fight, right?
Yeah,
she throws other people up in the fight in this scenario, right? She's like, yeah, you know, I'm a cat. I'm gonna give you magical powers and strength and everything. Oh, that burst damage is just disgusting from Anivia. I really do. I'm a bit like said. I wasn't liking the electrocute here. Just gonna put that out there. But every time I see it proc, I'm really liking it now. Typically, when you know, obviously with the Anivia, you choose to go for more of the. You want to have, I feel like, comments. Well, yeah, I feel like, you know, comments the way to go because it gives you more options, allows you to take advantage of that deep pool that you're going to need, that mana pool that you're going to need with a mana flow ban. So I would expect that to be a bit more better going forward. But yeah, I guess, you know, it works out because Italic's really good at being, I guess, really good at that mana control. That's something that most players, especially when they're still in that more development phase of the games, typically avoid with. But Italic's managing that mana extremely well and just really showing us what Anivia can do.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of it as well. Like, I know the other alternative, in my eyes at least, is the Phase Rush to give you a little bit more ability to kite. But the extra... it's the laning
Do you
damage.
need to kite when in Anivia?
Oh,
I feel like if you're being caught as an Anivia, you're in the wrong place.
I mean, yes, counterpoint, Lee Sin is very mobile, and I don't like him anywhere near an ice bird.
That's true, I get you, but I feel like if a Lee Sin's on you, you're already probably dead as an ice bird.
Perhaps, but
because you're being kicked into the team. But then do you want to kick a bird into the team? Because the bird's obviously going to turn into an egg. Right.
Oh, hold up a second. As
yeah.
Back up. Solar Flare not able to land properly, but can he buy time as Bacon? He's just waiting around. He doesn't really know what to do. Flashes to safety. Heel comes out. A beautiful insect kick. Throws Bacon into the back line. He is forced to abandon. As his support isn't making it out of here alive. Both of them will join and meet back at base.
Yeah, this is massive momentum shift coming here, of course, for Salle to actually take down what was the shutdowns in the bottom lane, continue to get that turret as well, is really big for them, especially how important their bot lane is going to be going as the stages of this game on. But on the flip side, the fact that they've just immediately recognized, hey, all the resources down in the bot lane here for Salle, Canberra can actually just take advantage of the map and get a big positional advantage by taking out all the towers, also getting a bit of chip damage on that last inhibitor turret as well in the mid lane. Pretty good response coming out, but I think Salle really needed to make that big commitment in the bot lane in the other game, otherwise they might have been in trouble coming into that 20-minute mark.
Yeah, but now they're in trouble here because they've given up all priority over this dragon. Infernal #1 will be secured here by Canberra College. No real chance of a contest coming through. And what alarms me, Mendrix, is I've seen games that have started like this before. Games with teams that stall really nicely get 4 Infernal Dragons. Now, I'm just saying, there's already one in the back pocket of Canberra, and they're finally starting to come online with mythics for most of their champions. Of course, the exception is Riley, who went for an early Nash's.
And I like the idea of it. I mean, look, the point here right now is I don't even think they need to stall. Like, they're ahead of the curve in this point of going forward. I mean, they've got the extra kills. They've got a lot of extra damage momentum here now in the mid lane. And I mean, yeah, look at that damage.
Havoc's in trouble, though. He's trapped in the death realm. He is in egg form, and that means Snow should be able to provide backup once he gets out there. Will he be able to save his mid lane? No, he cannot. And the Flash will, in fact, keep this Mordekaiser's out. The Riftmaker making it very difficult for the Malphite to fight back. And, in fact, he is the king of top lane. Snow running for his life. He will get alive, but that is not a victory in any stretch of the imagination. There's Prodigy getting caught out a little bit here. Does get CC Cleanse burnt out there. There is no heal, no exhaust, but all of the damage with the spray and pray cutting down Cam. And now, can he get the kick through? Is not needed for the movement, but it is used for the execute.
Yeah, I really don't like what Canberra College has been doing. They're forcing a number of skirmishes around the map when they don't have a skirmish team. That point of the game is well and truly gone. You've already broken down all of the towers available from your opponent in that mid lane. Just group up as 5, take the inhibitor, and then begin feasting on the objectives around the map. And you are a team that's scary as a 5-man. But as 2, or as 1, as 3, yeah, you're not really having the same punch, and you can see what's happening. I mean, Mockle, oh my god, look at this happening now.
Yeah, he's going aggro here, but I like the enthusiasm from Yode.
Yeah,
you've got the shield bow. But you've got the shield bow for protection, as well as, of course, you have your E active, that Soul Unbound, so that if things do go badly, you can just run away from the battle.
I mean, yes and no, because really, what's the point of them being there right now at this point in time? I'd much rather them be on the top side of the map and actually getting control of Baron. That would be awesome. I do like to touch on the point of the Immortal Shield Bow is a nice pickup on Loco de Coco, but end of the day here, I really want to just go back to what we were discussing, where Canberra just literally threw away their lead and gave away a massive gold injection, probably beginning their slow demise at this point. Really need to pull something special out of the hat in order for them to get this back.
Yeah, the problem is that the hat is probably on top of Twitch's head, given he's the cat of the situation here. Tish. I'm trying my best.
It's more like you know what I mean in that scenario, because he's got a cat as well. He's got a cat and a hat. He's got a machine. It's a machine gun cat rat.
The machine gun cat rat.
Yeah.
Oh, he's on the prowl for something, Prodigy. he's looking in this middle lane to constantly try and ambush people, but the problem is the only person who's willingly walking up that far on their own is not Jon Snow. And ambushing a Malphite, while it may result in a kill, it's a Malphite. You're going to have to burn a lot to secure that kill there. So instead, I like the fact that they're backing away, but I worry that they need to be a bit proactive from the side of De La Salle. And
it's a credit to the team players as well. They do understand their macro to that point to say, hey,
oh, no!
Well, here we go.
No!
I caster cursed him, didn't I?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a big caster curse there. You can tell that's exactly what Prodigy and Lemonade have been looking for this entire time. And I'm about to be like, yeah, well, you know, obviously the big rock man likes to walk around and be up in front, and everyone else who's a little bit more of a glass cannon will just sit back and relax. And finally, I think Bacon Man Bat decided, I'm free to go up, looks like it's safe, and just didn't respect the rat in that scenario.
And in that situation, if it was anyone other than a Twitch on the other team, I think that would have been the right call there, because you would have seen them coming, you would have time to back away to the tier 2, which is the safety net once your tier 1 is gone, and continue to play the wave push game. The problem is that it's not just any AD carry. It's the AD carry you don't see coming until it's too late in the Twitch here. So hopefully next time we do get this sort of scenarios, Bacon has learned his lesson and makes sure to keep himself safe, as it looks like Riley was in fact forced to use their flash defensively from an ambush, what I can only assume is Prodigy jumping out of nowhere.
You can tell right now that De La Salle want to really put control onto this dragon, but here comes the TP.
That's an aggressive TP. John will run for the hills there, courtesy of the cheese wheel that he threw out to get that bonus movement speed here. Dragon has been started, but there absolutely will be a fight here. Riley posturing aggressively here, but Monkey just death realms him, and now he's not letting it. But Jon Snow access to the backline there. Curtain calls on a beautiful solar flare. The backline of De La Salle is doing nothing. They finally are able to play League of Legends, but is it going to be enough? The answer looks like yes. Dextrox picks up one kill there. Prodigy gets a one under his belt as well. Dragon is low. Who is able to secure it? It looks like it will be the Yone, as Tarek is egged, and that will be a scrambling to boot.
And DLSL's time bomb has gone off. The scaling has well and truly made itself aware. And really it came down to the fact that they decided to do those skirmishes just a little bit beforehand. They needed to do that play there basically 5 minutes ago. If they had done it right there at that point, they would have won that team fight. League of Legends, it's a game of margins. And if you end up being out by that little bit of a margin, you can see Prodigy almost did not get out of that alive, and that could have been a completely different team fight afterwards. So at this point, they need to be extremely on point to make it happen. I feel like Riley needs to be on top of that engage as well. Again, high school pylons are better the more people involved with it. It felt like there was only really two there to make that happen, and in the end, the rat and the cat get away, and that means they walked away, not with just a team fight, but of course, the dragon as well.
And part of the reason that it happened there, Mendrix, and why it was only a two-man pile of effectively Cam and Jon Snow, was that Riley, who I think would have been, if Riley had managed to get on top of Prodigy when he was CC'd, absolutely different team fight. He got trapped in the Death Realm. He wasn't allowed to participate in the All-In. So by the time all of the cooldowns were burnt, Riley finally escapes the Death Realm and realizes, well, I can't do anything. There's no one I can actually pick on. Like, a phenomenal ultimate from the top lane of De La Salle, I think could have actually, is the reason it went so well for the team in red.
And to take it back even further, remember, De La Salle managed to blow the flash of Riley just prior before that team fight. If Riley had the flash, he could have been on top of Jon Snow, used the flash over the Dragon Pit, and then would have been able to basically finish off the kill onto Prodigy and Lemonade directly afterwards. Because of that, he had to take the long way around, had to go up against the Iron Man, and he took him straight into the Shadow Realm and said, you know what, it's time to duel.
And then suddenly you look around and Thousand Eyes Idol just comes out of nowhere, and you're like, why do you exist? Like, why? I don't want to see you in my life right now.
We all know this is a tournament, and that was banned from competition play, okay?
Let's not talk about Season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! That was those were wild, wild West days.
That was just kind of like, let's just do everything. It's going to be broken regardless, you know? Monster Reborn? Why would you let that be a thing?
Don't worry, machine-type monsters are immune to immune to spell cards. Let's go. As Jon
yeah.
Jon Snow's in trouble here. He is in a 3v1. His team is coming in. Is he tanky enough to buy time? The answer is no, he is not. As the Kraken player burns him down, Loco to the Coco is looking for something. He has backup as he does catch out Riley. Riley will go down courtesy of the reinforcements of Dextrox here. And the Diana does have reinforcements from the Leona, but an ultimate isn't really going to save you in that situation, as Cambod is even being threatened by Dextrox. Oh my lord! The Lee Sin mechanics are damn good!
Yeah, really, Dextrox seems to be on point at the moment in that level, the last little bit there. Really impressed by that inset coming into it. He's been doing really good stuff throughout this tournament the entire time, so really liking that level of the sense there. And really, this is now just a culmination of the teams beginning to use that gold, use that advantage to really just close out the rest of the game. And as long as DLSL hold this same momentum, don't give a chance for Canberra to come back in and actually stall it out. They're looking pretty good, especially with that Infernal Soul coming out 1 minute and 30 seconds away.
Yeah, and this Infernal Soul, I think, is going to decide the game here, Mendrix. If DLSL are able to secure that objective, that is going to be it. It'll be a one-team fight, and with that objective, they should, in theory, be able to break the base of Canberra College. But if Canberra College can secure the objective, even if they don't, as long as they don't lose everyone in the fight, they can buy time. They can delay another 5 minutes, get some more gold, get some more items, get some more relevance, and they might be able to win the following fight as well. But it's all down to the decision. Do you fight for this objective, or do you commit Riley just for the steal?
You let it go. You just let it go. Try to absorb resources elsewhere. If you can, look for a cheeky Baron if possible. As you can see, it's not warded up here at the moment by DLSL. You can tell all the focus will be on this Dragon coming into it for DLSL at this moment in time with all the warding that they put into place. As you can see, looks like they're trying to fight it out and stop the Dragon here. I'm fine with them getting the Infernal Soul, because really, at the end of the day, you can try and fight back for the Elder Dragon. Go for the 50-50 there. That's when you're going to have a real big punch and kick for getting the steal directly afterwards. You're really putting a lot on the line right now, because this might be enough for them to actually close out if they do lose this fight. Because it's not just going to be the Dragon. Whoever wins this should be able to pick up the Baron as well.
Yeah, but both teams are posturing right now. But look at Prodigy's position. He's on the flank. And I think they now know he's on the flank, so he will back away. Riley might be in trouble. Mosley is running forwards, but they're filtering into a choke point against the Nivy. This could be risky as they all in pile. Is going well. Prodigy, though, is left untouched in the back line here. This is a disaster as Detrox decides the fight is going to be a follow-up on his end there. One more hit will take Bacon down. There is nothing Bacon can do there. He flashes the safety. The miscue does not result in a kill here, but that is a disaster for Canberra College. They lose 3 members. They will lose the Dragon Soul, and I think the base is going to get broken open too.
Yeah, it was the right idea,
no,
but the wrong second party. He's dead. I like you're just going to be like, oh no, Bacon! I'm like, I know Bacon too. I really like it when I do manage to get my Bacon, but he was taken off the table. I think everything comes down to this, is that they just should have just give that. They should have given it up. They're too far behind in gold. They should have waited for another power spike and look to play around the next Elder Dragon. You even give up the Baron in this scenario. You have the Anivia, you have the capability to do it, but
oh my lord,
DLSL's just going for it now.
Yeah, can the Anivia buy time? Remember, Anivia's specialty is stalling. Can the bird buy the time? As Merle is getting in trouble there, forced to disengage. Riley is looking for it, but Riley gets nuked on the back end of the fight as well, as it will to Canberra College. They survive for now, but Prodigy with that spray and pray gets him down. This is a disaster. They lose the ice, but there's everyone. That is gonna be it. What could have been a valiant fight. They fought well, but it was not enough in this situation. Infernal Soul in their back pocket, and that will be DLSL taking the victory over Canberra College.
And they played well in the end. They actually just played textbook. I mean, they did their homework. They understood what they needed to do towards the end. They had the advantages, and all of it came down on keeping the rat and the cat alive. You've got this big front line in Loco to the Doko, Dextrox, and Mockle. Both of them were able to hold their own, make sure that any initiation capability coming out of Canberra just wasn't able to hit the mark. And of course, that meant that was free damage and rain coming out for DLSL. Nice, easy win towards the end.
Yeah, Prodigy did well, but the MVP for this game is going to be going to the jungler here of De La Salle. Of course, we can take a look at him on the Optus and Torrens University of Australia scene here. 7-2-13 on the Lee Sin is Dextrox, and this man did phenomenal from the early game aggression, which is the signature of a Lee Sin, to some like his mechanics. My God, what this man was able to pull off on this champion was disgustingly beautiful.
Yeah, the Dextrox with the insects really were on point. You can tell he's practiced it. It wasn't just a matter of him using the insect with a flash. He was also able to channel his energy in the right ways, which is actually pretty difficult to do. You need to get that auto attack, then follow through with the wall jump kick. So he was really on point pretty much once he got past that 50-minute mark and got the items he needed.
Yeah, a phenomenal showing all around, and that will result in Canberra College going 1-for-1 in a total result of Meta HSE, while De La Salle will be happily sitting at a 2-0. Coming into only week number 2, of course, there are still many more weeks for teams to claim victory. And speaking of claiming victory, Mendrix, there is one game waiting in the wings for us. That is going to be Lakeview Senior versus Melbourne High School, guys. So do not go anywhere. It's only a matter of time before our third and final game kick gets underway.